Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program tonight, the first attack on Indian soil by terrorists using drones. The target, the Indian Air Force's Jammu Air Station. A building was damaged, 2 IAF men injured. But what is clear is this. This appears to be a new phase in the battle waged by terrorists. A new weapon has been used to target a major military facility. What do we do about it? Before I introduce my panelists, I'd like to go straight across to my colleague Nazir Masoodi, who's outside the Jammu Air Station. What are we learning from police and others investigating this? Nazir.
Well, Vishnu, there's some important piece of information from senior police officers. They confirm it was a drone attack, which they have been saying since morning. But what they are saying, that drones may have flew back after dropping payload, because it appears they have not recovered any debris of the drone from that site of attack.
Okay.
And also there's no clarity whether the drones have been launched from Pakistan or they were locally launched. So there's no clarity. There was another thing that, one person was, one militant, suspected militant was, captured with some explosive at Narwal, which is like 8-9 kilometers from this airport station. So there's so far no link has been established between the two. So as you rightly mentioned, this is the first attack in our last 3 decades of militancy where drones have been used. It has completely changed the security paradigm in Jammu and Kashmir. Security forces have been, discussing things since morning. NIA, forensic experts, and other security agencies were through the day in this airport station.
Right.
Now they have to recalibrate how to deal with this new challenge.
All right, Nazir, thanks so much. Those are important updates. Joining us now, Gautam Kumar Gupta. He lives just 3.5 kilometers away from the Air Force Station and actually heard the blasts. He's going to tell us a little bit about that. Sameer Joshi is an aerospace expert, perhaps India's leading authority on drones. And Air Vice Marshal Manmohar Bahadur, certainly not an unknown face over here, actually commanded the Jammu Air Station of the Indian Air Force. Let me come across to you first, Gautam. Tell us what you heard late last night.
Good evening, Vishnu. So I stay around 3.5 kilometers away from the Jammu airport and the Jammu Air Force Station. So around 1:30 a.m. 1:30 a.m. last night, I heard a loud bang. I assume that it could have been an electric transformer blowing up, which is a common occurrence here in Jammu during peak summer time. So that was my assumption. But after a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes, again a loud bang was heard, and that time I got a little suspicious, and I scrolled through internet news, but I couldn't find anything.
And did you see any fire, or did you see some sort of smoke or anything like that? Was it too dark? Nothing?
Yeah. Apart from the fact that it was dark, it was actually 3.5 kilometers away. So the visual of the blast was not visible from my house.
Right. Did you have friends or anybody else who also heard the blast?
As I mentioned earlier, Vishnu, one odd loud bang is not something that draws people out of their homes. And we all, I'm sure everybody must have assumed it to be a stray occurrence or a tire blast or something like that.
Sure. And it was one blast and not two that you heard?
No, there were 2 blasts. They were in succession. I assumed it to be 3 or 4 minutes apart.
And that's exactly what is being reported now.
Yeah.
Sameer, one of the pieces of detail which have now come in, and this has been confirmed by the police, is that these appear to be drones which dropped a payload, in other words, an IED, in other words, a bomb, and then flew back. These weren't kamikaze drones. What does that mean?
Vishnu, the fact that there has been no debris found of any drone or any carrier vehicle of any manner indicates that this was possibly, or rather certainly, a drone attack, because an explosion has been carried out over one of a well-placed roof in the technical area of Jammu Air Force Station. So that confirms that it was an airborne drop by a vehicle which was flying in the air. So over a period of time, as we have seen, drones have been used for various applications. And one of the primary applications, especially by non-state actors, is towards disruption of routine operations near airports in various countries. We know that this technology is right there, and drones represent a very clear and present danger, especially in payload drops of the explosive manner. And it was just a matter of time when, after what we have seen in Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, and, attacks on Russian bases in Syria, this technology, which is now commercially just, available for everybody's usage, would end up in the anti-national elements' hands across in India. And this is what we saw today. Yes.
Air Marshal Manmohan Bahadur, you've commanded this airbase. How significant, just for the benefit of our viewers, is Jammu for our air defenses?
It's vital in the sense, I was there first in 1978 when we, as a youngster, actually we literally had a cattle fencing type of, the barbed wire fencing. Everything was fine. You just kicked the tire, lit the fire and got airborne. Landed up later in 2002 as station commander of Parakaram, and the whole thing had changed totally because of the threat of anti-national elements and terrorism. At that time too, the barriers had improved and the wall had started coming up, which is there in most Air Force stations now. But this attack today shows that wall obviously will stop physical movement, but not something that comes from the air. But Jammu is important for very many reasons. For one, it has been hosting the Darbar, or it is the summer capital of Jammu and Kashmir. Second, the road link to Srinagar and the bifurcation from to Rajouri and Puj, west-northwest, happens from Jammu. It is a cultural center. It's not for nothing that during Parakaram, the attack on Raghunath Temple happened. The attack on the army living out area, families, happened during Parakaram. We almost went to war after that. So Jammu is important not only for the fact that it has an Air Force station, but that Air Force station is on a place which is of psychological, if I can use that, it is imprinted in the minds of India. So the Air Force station accordingly is well beefed up. It is basically a helicopter base. Down history, right from 47, 48, it has taken part in Poonch. The siege of Poonch was broken by Dakotas dropping from Jammu. In 71, the present airfield started being constructed. And over the years, it's become vital with more assets coming up at the station.
Okay.
It has got
Samir,
radars,
could you give us an idea of how a drone like this would be controlled? Would it be a very large drone? Would it be a drone launched locally? Would it have a global positioning system or not?
Just as Nasir pointed out.
Oh, one sec, Air Marshal, I just wanted to go to Samir with that. Samir, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Vishnu, the pictures that we are seeing from the damage, in that particular room, this definitely was a payload which would have weighed close to about 750 grams to 1 kg of explosive. And when dropped from an altitude, because of the momentum, it will have the explosion and penetration effect, which was seen. Now, the point to ponder over is that anything which can carry about a kg plus of payload has to be not a very small drone, but has to be small to a medium-sized drone. We can still explore the theories. Did it come across the border? If at all it happened, it would be a medium-sized drone controlled by radio frequency link, which would be difficult from those kind of ranges. So I personally feel it may be a drone which may have been launched from closer ranges around the airbase. Now, at that time of the hour, it's very simple and easy to escape detection. And a drone launch in close proximity would definitely be controlled by GPS. The coordinates would have been fed off the center. It is widely being reported that a helicopter was parked very close by.
Yes.
It is possible that may be the target. With the GPS inaccuracies of such drones, commercially off-the-shelf available drones, it may have veered off. But one thing is very clear, that the way this new form of warfare has been proliferating across the world, it is very much now, here in India. If the terrorists or the players who have used it have decided to pick up a military target, this is a clear violation of a lot of conventions. But having said that, we in India now need to be prepared to counter this very, very emergent threat in a very, very counteractive and proactive manner. Yeah. Otherwise, we will only see more and more of this taking place in the years to come.
Air Marshal, why is it difficult to detect a drone which is small?
Before that, Vishnu, if I can just add, you see, I think there is a bigger picture that is behind what happened. I mean, if the target was one helicopter, I mean, that is not what a terrorist or anti-national element is aiming for. It was much bigger. It was to show that we have this capability, and it gave a military signaling that your rears, your installation in the rears are not safe.
Right.
Tomorrow this thing can happen.
So we'll talk about that, the larger goal, but can you answer the question, so why is it difficult to detect a drone which is small?
Oh, it's because of the radar cross section of the drone. You know, each radar has got a certain capability, and it depends at what distance it can detect an object, at what height it is, and at what size it is, and what reflection it does. So a small drone does not reflect from traditional radars. These type of drones generally would be just like the things that we set up for 26th Jan or 15th August when the Prime Minister addresses. You know, you have acoustic measures, you have electronic measures to detect this. So a normal radar doesn't function. You can detect a searcher UAV type of that size type of a UAV.
That's much larger.
I'm quite sure it was not that size UAV that came across.
So let me just take that back to Samir. How does one intercept a drone of this size, small to medium size?
Yeah, Vishnu, as Himachal Bahadur mentioned, it's a very difficult task. Small drones, the biggest aspect to prevent any proliferation is timely detection. Now, there are various techniques. There are various counter-drone measures which have evolved over the years. But the all-weather detection sensor is definitely going to be a radar. Now, the existing radars in the IAF's network, or for that matter, deployed across with the Airport Authority of India and otherwise, are just not capable of detecting these smaller size drones. And this is where these take advantage of the same. Specialist radars, which are of microwave variety, these are required to actually detect these functionally drones. Added to these radars are electro-optical and infrared sensors in a layered kind of network. So just to make it very clear, this is one of the biggest problem statement which is evolving over across the world. It's not only detection and interception of drones difficult, it is also a strategy where one solution will not work for all kind of scenarios. Right. So one needs to have a layered kind of setup with a mix of radars, electro-optical sensors, and of course the counter-drone measures, which may be kinetic or non-kinetic in nature.
Yeah. Air Marshal, we are talking today about Jammu, but if we were to invest in this technology, and I don't think it's a question of if, it's a question of when we actually get it on the ground, it would have to be across the country, not just Air Force bases, all military facilities, because drone warfare and swarms of drones, small to medium size, it's technology which exists. It's already being used in conflict. We've seen what it's done in places like Azerbaijan and elsewhere, and Armenia. Therefore, shouldn't we be prepared to defend ourselves?
Oh, absolutely. Only point is that these drone sizes, Azerbaijan and Armenia is slightly different because that was warfare between two states, and the type of drones used there are bigger and more sophisticated. What we are talking of is cheap, over-the-counter available, if I can use that word. You can order them from Amazon. So those type of technology which is there. So nothing in the rear now, in a way, is safe. So we have to prioritize what is it that we want to protect, because it's just impossible for any nation to invest that kind of money, that kind of manpower to protect every vital area and vital point. So we have to do a threat analysis and see what is it that is absolutely vital, and we must invest money, time, and training of personnel for this. It's a 24/7, 365-day task. Whereas the other side, the bad guy, has to strike only once. That's the first mover advantage that he has. So it's a very difficult proposition, but it has to be invested in because otherwise it can create havoc. So, and as I was saying, it is a psychological impact which is more.
Samir, it's one thing to defend against drone strikes. It's something else to actually have the capability yourself. how important is it for us as a nation to invest in swarm drones among other drone technologies?
Okay, so Vishnu, one of a very proactive manner is to signal across to any adversary who attempts any manner of drone strike towards your particular assets is your own counter, capability of similar nature. Now, basically, you're talking specifically of swarm drones. Now, a swarm consists of more than one drone or larger, large packets of drone ending up in hundreds or 200s or 300s. The idea is to saturate a target if used in an offensive manner. So an example for this is where the Hamamim Air Force Base in Syria of the Russians came under attack by very homemade, well-built drones. The first thing what a swarm imposes on you is punishment in terms of adding the degree of difficulty in shooting them down, saturation. So the second aspect is it makes you expend a lot of money and effort to shoot down a large number. Just to, the Russians ended up spending close to about 13 to 14 surface-to-air missiles and a large number of 30 shells to shoot down, basically $100,000 missiles to shoot down $1,000 drone. That is the kind of expansion. Now, this capability is definitely going to evolve. It is already the bedrock for future drone warfare. I mean, nobody is going to use single drones in the days to come. They will be using them in a large number in some kind of cooperative mode. Only then the efficacy of such measures is, going to be profounded. So this is the way forward. There is no doubt. Just imagine we have problems, detecting as well as neutralizing a single drone, and now increase the numbers from varied, multi-directional attack. This is where the future is headed towards, and this is where we need to kind of, pull up our socks, deploy networked counter drone, sensors working together, just the way IF has, a network air defense setup. We need to have a miniature air defense setup, spread across the Indian Air Force, basically the MOD, the MHA, Airport Authority, and all the agencies. Everybody should get an update from where what is happening. Only then the detection and neutralization to an extent is possible.
Yeah. It's a huge investment and it should have been done perhaps earlier. Air Marshal Manmohan Bahadur, the line of control is peaceful now. And there's been obviously a great deal of investment in ensuring that the duels which we saw, including artillery duels last year, have ended. Now you've got something like this taking place. Is this an attempt by some elements, possibly either in Pakistan or terrorists over here influenced by Pakistan, to try and end the peace?
In fact, that is what I was just thinking. It's like this. A shell doesn't have to come from across a barrel. It has been dropped from the air by a UAV. Now it is imperative that we try and identify, use all our technical, electronic, and human sources to find out the source of this attack. Because if it has come from across the border, aided by across the border, then it changes the sanctity of that so-called ceasefire that we have sort of entered into. Because this is actually a violation if it has come across from there. It has actually signaled. It has signaled that we are there. It's political signal that we are relevant and we are sort of improving and we have got this technology.
Right.
So the bigger message that is sent is, you please invest, and the effect is that we will have to invest money, time, and resources to guard so many more. And let's not forget civilian infrastructure, nuclear installations.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a huge threat. Samir, any final thoughts on this? Why do you think they would have struck now?
See, I think it's an off-the-cuff signaling or a response to some event which we may or may not know. What is very certain for the fact is that I don't think any state in its normal mind would indulge in this strategy. Simply because we also have an answer for that. If we are exposed, the adversary is also exposed in the same manner. I mean, the problem statement is such that even countries like the US, China, they are grappling with this as a problem which needs to be, still sorted out. The solution is not there. And as the drones get more advanced, if you talk of autonomous drones, half the countermeasures don't even work on them. Mm-hmm. So this problem is only going to blow up in the future. Coming back to why now, definitely somebody needs to ponder over. I think our intelligence agencies may have an idea. But at the same time now to certainly invest in these technologies to counter them. At least a good start would be to start deploying at the vital points, as Air Marshal Bahadur has just mentioned. I personally feel, as I mentioned before, we need to network these solutions. Just the way the larger air defense systems have been, been layered. We need to take drones as a live threat, as big a problem as, an incoming missile or an aircraft. Only then will we have that attitude to take them on in a solitary or a manner in which a large number of them can be taken up together. Yeah. This is the way forward, I feel.
Yeah. Air Marshal, I'm running short on time, so final question to you, just in 30 seconds. Is this a new phase in the war against terror for us in India, and is this a new phase for terrorists as they try and attack our soil?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, more importantly, it gives ideas to other anti-national elements in other parts of our country. It is a new phase, and we really have to. It's not that we are not aware of it, and I can say with confidence that the services are geared up or are gearing up towards that, but the amount of resources required have to be committed by the government, because this threat is live and cannot go away tomorrow and will not go away tomorrow.
All right. I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. This is a huge threat indeed.